Okay, here we go. So when looking at this problem, ladies and gentlemen, we have 6b to the fourth. You guys are pretty good. Now go to the other direction. Switch hands. Other direction. Always get you. So we have 6b to the fourth minus 8b cubed plus 12b minus 14 divided by b minus 2. All right, so I'm going to work through this a little bit quicker going through there. And again, the major thing we noticed, guys, is we have a binomial again, right? So we can't do that GCF thing where you can't divide every term by your term. We're going to have to use our long division algorithm. So we set this up. b minus 2 divided by 6b to the fourth minus 8b cubed plus 12b minus 14. Okay, now, there is a little trick that, if you guys notice, we don't have a cubed, do we? Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have a squared, right? So sometimes it's very helpful, and since we're still learning this, I'm going to do it for this problem. Sometimes it's very helpful to put in a squared for that term. So what term will we put? What coefficient should we use? Yes? 0. Very good. b squared plus 12b minus 14. So I'm not really, I don't really like how that's a different color. Okay. So does everybody kind of understand what I did? We didn't have a 0b squared. We didn't have a b squared, so I put a 0 as its coefficient. Because in reality, 0 times b squared is just 0, right? All right, so let's go back through the algorithm, and I'm going to try to explain it real closely again. So really, really make sure, Kristen, that you're paying attention to this. Because a lot of students forget this, and they need to write down. When dividing with a binomial into a polynomial, we're only going to divide our leading term. So we have to make sure our divisor as a binomial is in descending order. That means your largest degree is first and then descending order down. Okay? That's very, very important. Right now, we're just dealing with a binomial with a term and a constant, so it's not that bad. So you divide b into 6b to the fourth. If you guys want to practice at it, make it look like this. Then hopefully you guys should know the answer is 6b cubed, right? 6b to the fourth divided by b, 6b to the cubed. So then you write that term up there. Then what you do is once you get that quotient, you multiply that times both terms. 6b cubed times b is 6b to the fourth. If you don't get the exact same answer, you did something wrong. All right? Then 6b cubed times negative 2 is going to be a negative 12b cubed. Now, here's the most common mistake number 2. Students subtract, and they don't put the second row in parentheses. Because you have to say this out loud. 6b to the fourth minus 6b to the fourth is 0b to the fourth. And that's what I'm saying you did something wrong. You should always, when this evenly divides into it, you should always get 0. If you don't get 0, either it doesn't divide into it, or you made a mistake. So therefore, you have 0b to the fourth, which we know goes to 0, negative 8b cubed minus a negative 12b cubed. That's a double negative. So therefore, you're going to be left with 4b cubed. Now I'm going to kind of speed it up a little bit. What didn't you get?
Oh, you can just put the answer so 6 cubed on top.
Yeah. So now, b divides into 4b cubed plus 4b squared. 4b squared times b is going to be 4b cubed. 4b squared minus negative 2 is a negative 8b squared. We don't have a term here, so I bring down the 0b squared. And that's why we like using that middle term, so we kind of remember what am I subtracting from, right? You don't need to put it in there because we know the value is 0, but it's sometimes helpful to have that place value. So subtract both terms. This goes to 0. 0b squared minus a negative 8b squared now becomes a positive 8b squared. b divides into positive 8b squared, positive 8b times. 8b times b is 8b squared. 8b times negative 2 is a negative 16b. We bring down the 12b. Subtract. 8b squared minus 8b squared is 0b squared. 12b minus a negative 16b is a 28b. B divides into 28b 28 times. 28 times b is going to be 28b. 28 times negative 2 is a negative 56. Bring down my negative 14. Subtract both rows. That becomes 0b. 42. Positive, double negative, so it becomes positive 42. So now we have a remainder. So what do we do with our remainder? So what I want you guys to simply do is I don't want you to go back to the R42. What we're going to do is we're going to say plus the remainder, which is 42, divided by our divisor, which is b minus 2. So that is going to be the correct way to write that in there. Okay. At what point did you have a question? Okay. Do you understand how b goes into that 6b cubed? Yeah. Do you understand how I multiply that times both of these terms to get this? You got to make sure that you're multiplying it by both of those terms because we got to include the whole binomial. So you're going to multiply by both of them. And you just follow the process. Yep. Okay. So